Time now for business here on France 24, which I'm joined by William Edwards. Good morning to you. We're starting off with a very brief bit of good news.
Let's have a look at how things closed out on the US markets. There was positive sentiment there, briefly at least yesterday, although it was a mixed ending to the day. There were better than expected jobs figures for the month of December from private payrolls. Those figures were positive. Also, the number of new job seekers was down again for the fourth time out of 5 weeks. So we should be seeing some modest job creation and helping to bring down that unemployment rate, which is still at over 8%. Also, some good figures from the UK. The service industry growth there was better than expected, so maybe some sort of recovery getting going. However, we haven't seen a similar story over in Asia, although Shanghai is up just about now. It has been generally a morning of losses over there on the markets, of course, down to Eurozone worries as ever. Let's just take a look at how the euro has stacked up against the yen over the last, few years, because in fact, the euro is now at an 11-year low against the yen. This is causing big headaches for the Japanese economy. The finance minister there said that this is a real threat to the Japanese economy because, of course, if exports priced in yen, things like Honda cars, Sony electronics, they're all priced in yen. If you're a European consumer, that's going to make them more expensive and you're going to be less likely to buy Japanese if this continues.
Okay, and explain for us, though, the latest round of concerns over the euro.
Well, it's all about government borrowing, of course, as ever. Yesterday, France did borrow on the markets, and it was quite a success all round, to be fair. The rate did go up for their borrowing somewhat, but the subscription levels were pretty high. People were keen to buy French debt, which is a good sign. Nevertheless, the price of Italian debt on the secondary markets has headed up over that 7% mark again, which is, of course, that crucial 7% number we have in our heads as the sort of maximum sustainable level that Italy can borrow at and still finance its economy. So that's bad news ahead of an actual bond sale by the Italians next week. So we'll see, really, that'll be the crunch point for the economy. So with more of that coming in the next few weeks and with the euro celebrating its 10th birthday just this month, let's take a look at what the future holds for the euro.
It's the zone's €1 trillion problem. The combined debt Eurozone members will have to refinance this year. The biggest worry is Italy and whether its borrowing costs will spiral out of control. With 16 EU summits in 2 years, European leaders are trying to regain market confidence, but their efforts may not have the intended effects.
The various European summits did not fix the problems. Actually, they fixed year-old problems, but not the current ones. And there's a reason for that. It's because there's a gap between the rhythm of the crisis and the rhythm of politics.
All eyes will also be on Spain as it struggles to regain growth and curb unemployment rates. A tough task as the Eurozone is most likely heading for a recession. 2012 has repeatedly been branded a make-or-break year for the single currency, with some countries possibly leaving the Eurozone.
The bailout agreement needs to be signed. Otherwise, we will be out of the markets, out of the euro.
Eurozone governments are working on a new treaty with 2 goals in mind: increasing financial regulations and enshrining balanced budget rules in national constitutions. These measures are key for the euro to survive.
This crisis cannot be entirely blamed on the euro. It's just a currency. The euro can only have a future if we agree to implement these short-term measures.
European leaders hope to draft a new treaty by March. An EU summit is already scheduled at the end of the month, likely topping the agenda, saving the euro, a currency that just celebrated its 10-year anniversary.
More doom and gloom in the Eurozone. Well, there is a little bit of good news to the Europeans, however, on the manufacturing front.
Yeah, this is news from Boeing, the US aircraft manufacturer. They've put out their final year-end figures for 2011, and compared to Airbus, the European manufacturer, Boeing has come in second for the 9th year running, in fact, in sales for the year. Airbus yet to announce their official end-of-year figures, I should say. That is later this month. They're going to come out with those, but it seems pretty certain that Boeing is firmly in second place. In terms of gross orders for 2011, Boeing got only 38% of the large aircraft large carrier market. The reasons for this include the delay of its 787 Dreamliner, as one example, but things are expected to get better for them in 2012. This 787 Dreamliner, which was so delayed, was delayed because it was particularly complicated. It's made from composite materials, etc. So it is very fuel efficient and is expected, when they can finally get it manufactured in quantity, to really be quite a popular seller. So a better year for 2012, but 2011 Airbus firmly beating out Boeing in the aircraft sales stakes.
Okay, moving on to Japan now, and a scandal that goes right to the heart of the business establishment there.
Yeah, this has all been playing out for the last, around 3 months now. This was Michael Woodford, the CEO of Olympus. He was fired after bringing attention to the fact that the company had misplaced $1.7 billion in their accounts. Now, this is him live right now. He's holding a press conference at the moment. He's explaining that he's not now going to try and get back into the company. He wanted to come back and lead the company, having cleared up this mess, but institutional shareholders are not keen on that idea. They're not backing him. Let's take a look at the details and get a bit of a reminder of the history of this story from Luke Strago.
It began in October, when camera-making firm Olympus Corp's chief executive confronted the management over heavy spending in acquisition deals. A rare foreign outsider at a Japanese company, Michael Woodford was fired. But it turned out it had all been a cover-up to hide more than 117 billion yen, $1.5 billion in investment losses dating back to the 90s. With Olympus under investigation, Woodford went on the attack, criticizing the company's management.
There's an understanding that these people cannot continue as directors, and that they will come to a point, hopefully in the near future, that they will stand down, allowing Olympus to move forward.
The company narrowly avoided being delisted from the Tokyo Stock Exchange in December, after it refiled corrected earnings for the last 5 years. Woodford was hopeful he'd manage to get his job back.
No, I think I have enough support from shareholders. That's not the issue. No, I think there's not an issue in relation to support.
It wasn't to be. A murky system of cross-shareholding, where major Japanese companies hold stakes in each other, maintained a status quo, and investors closed ranks. After a 30-year career with Olympus, it seems Woodford's gone for good and is reportedly suing the company.
Okay, well, let's move from one scandal to another, and the head of Switzerland's National Bank in trouble over his wife's behaviour.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately for Philip Hildebrand, the chairman of the Swiss National Bank, his wife bought $500,000 with using Swiss francs back last August. Now, a few weeks later, the central bank intervened to weaken the Swiss franc against the dollar. What this meant was that she made a $60,000 profit. Now, of course, her husband, being the head of the Swiss National Bank, this does look rather dodgy, I suppose you could say. Now, Hildebrand has denied wrongdoing. He said he didn't tip off his wife to tell her now might be a great time to buy $500,000. He denies this, but he does admit that perhaps the rules should be tightened up for bank executives. And you do perhaps get a bit of sympathy for Hildebrand when you hear his quote. He says, "My wife has a very strong personality." And he says that she expressed opinion before that she thought the dollar was much too low. So it sounds like she acted on that without running it past him.
Absolutely. Okay, and finally, Treasures from the Deep on sale in New York City.
That's right, the Titanic, of course, 100th anniversary this year of the sinking of the doomed liner. This collection, you can see some of the details there, personal effects of some of the passengers. One of the things on sale is actually a massive chunk of the hull, weighing several tons. These were all collected from the debris field by a company called RMS Titanic Incorporated. And, well, this is going under the hammer in April, on just before the anniversary of the sinking itself, so obviously cashing in, as it were, on that anniversary. It was valued at $189 million, this collection in 2007. It has to be sold as a job lot, so you can't just, I'm afraid, grab a plate or anything like that.
Okay, William Edwards, thanks very much for joining us. That's it for business. Do stay tuned here to Live from Paris. More news coming up very shortly with Lorna.